SSI Overpayment. I did something foolish a couple of years ago. I did not buy a new hard drive. You have to understand that I am retired on disability without the work hours needed for regular SSA. So, I am on SSI, foot 1, and I mean that with a full period. SSI. I have zero other income, beyond cash gifts on my birthday and Christmas. If you report them, which I do, means that next month's payment is reduced by $30 for a $50 gift. All of the money in my bank account since 2008 has been from SSI payments and those few gifts. 1 month, my monthly expenses were down, so my asset level in bank and savings accounts exceeded by around $250 the $2,000 monthly cap. Foot 2, Footnote 1, the Supplemental Security Income, SSI, program provides income support to persons aged 65 or older, blind or disabled adults, and blind or disabled children. 1972, Public Law 92-603, enacted October 30th. An individual may qualify for payments on the basis of age, blindness, or disability. Disabled. Any person unable to engage in any substantial gainful activity, SGA, by reason of any medically determinable physical or mental impairment expected to result in death or that has lasted or can be expected to last for a continuous period of at least 12 months. For a child under age 18, eligibility is based on disability of severity comparable with that of an adult. An individual transferred from a state aid to the Permanently and Totally Disabled APTD program to SSI is also eligible if he received such state aid in December 1973 and continues to meet the October 1972 state definition of disability. Description page holds link to Footnote 1 source. Footnote 2, Googled. When was the SSI overpayment set to $2,000? Al response, the $2,000 figure in SSI relates to two different things. The SSI asset limit was set at $2,000 in 1989 and hasn't changed. If I had bought that hard drive, I would have had no problems. Next month, the level was down to around $150, third around $75, then I was below $2,000. A short while later, I got an SSI overpayment letter. They want their money back. Now, if you are thinking that would be $475 equals $250 plus $150 plus $75, you are mistaken. Any month that you are over the limit, that entire month's check is considered an overpayment. So they want every penny of your monthly check back, around $2,700. Foot 3. At least the policy is to only withhold 10% from future checks to recover the money. So my direct deposits shall hit normal in a few months. Now, when I started getting SSI payments, I was getting $637 a month, and the resource cap was $2,000. This year, 2025, the payment is $967, and in 2026, it shall be $994, all based on inflation increases. Footnote 3, Googled. Can Social Security take your whole check for overpayment? Al response, yes, the Social Security Administration, SSA, can take 100% of your Social Security, retirement, SSDI. Check for an overpayment, but you can request a waiver or payment plan to stop it, especially if it causes hardship. For SSI, they typically take up to 10% or a set amount like $72.10 a month, though rules change. You should immediately contact the SSA to appeal or set up an affordable plan if you get an overpayment notice, as they can recover up to the full amount if you don't act, potentially leaving you with no funds for living expenses. Now you might think that if in 2008 the cap was $2,000, that by 2025 the cap would have gone up by inflation to $2,953.21, which would have meant I would never hit the limit. But no raise in the cap has happened since. The cap was set at $2,000 in 1989. Meaning if inflation on the cap had been applied, one might be able to save to purchase a used car. For the cap would be at $5,221.86. Or, in 2008, the number of months needed if you are in the hospital and do not touch your SSI payment at all is 3.14. equals $2,000 divided by 637 months, which means in 2025, that would be 2.07 equals $2,000 divided by 967 months. Back in 1989, when the cap was set, that would be 5.43 equals $2,000 divided by 368 months. Congress needs to correct this. 1. Putting the cap so it follows inflation. A. Backdate that so it applies to every year since 1989. 2. Return the money that this took on people on SSI, asking them, A. Do you want it in one payment you have to spend in 6 months? B. Repay slowly at between 10% to 50%, noting the amount each repayment is for every 10%, so that one does not get into cap troubles again. And things are even worse that, as the below table shows, SSI payments have always been below the poverty level. Foot 4, Foot 5, following read as continuous table, not a divided one. First left side, row 1, column 1, year, column 2 and 3, SSI for individuals, column 4, poverty level 1 person, column 5, SSI as percent of poverty. Row 2, break in columns 2 and 3, MN year. Row 3, 2026, 994, 11,928. Row 4, 2025, 967, 11,604. Row 5, 2024, 943, 11,316, 15,060, 75.14%. Row 6, 2023, 914, 10,580, 75.23%. Row 7, 2022, 841, 10,092, 13,590, 74.26%. Row 8, 2021, 794, 9,528, 12,880, 73.98%. Row 9, 2020, 783, 9,396, 12,760, 73.64. Row 10, 2019, 775, 9,252, 12,490, 74.08%. Row 11, 2018, 750, 9,140, 74.14%. Row 12, 2017, 735, 8,820, 12,060, 73.13%. Row 13, 2016, 733, 8,796, 11,880, 74.04%. Row 14, 2015, 733, 8,796, 11,770, 74.73%. Row 15, 2014, 721, 8,652, 11,670, 74.14%. Row 16, 2013, 8,520, 11,490, 74.15%. Row 17, 2012, 698, 8,376, 11,170, 74.99%. Row 18, 2011, 674, 8,088, 10,890, 74.27%. Row 19, 2010, 674, 8,088, 10,830, 74.68%. Row 21, 2009, 674, 8,088, 10,830, 74.68%. Row 22, 2008, 637, 7,644, 10,400, 73.50%. Breakpoint. Right side. Row 1, column 6. Year. Column 7 and 8. SSI for individuals. Column 9, poverty level 1 person. Column 10, SSI as percent of poverty. Row 2, break in columns 7 and 8, MN year. Row 3, 2007, 623, 7,476, 10,210, 73.22%. Row 4, 2006, 636, 9,800, 73.84%. Row 5, 2005, 579, 6,948, 9,570, 72.60%. Row 6, 2004, 564, 6,768, 9,310, 72.70%. Row 7, 2003, 552, 6,624, 8,980, 73.76%. Row 8, 2002, 545, 6,540, 8,860, 73.81%. Row 9, 2001, 531, 6,372, 8,590, 74.18%. Row 10, 2000, 513, 6,156, 8,350, 73.72%. Row 11, 1999, 500, 6,000, 8,240, 72.82%. Row 12, 1998, 494, 5,928, 8,050, 73.64%. Row 13, 1997, 484, 5,808, 7,890, 73.61%. Row 14, 1996, 470, 5,640, 7,740, 72.87%. Row 15, 1995, 458, 5,496, 7,470, 73.57%. Row 16, 1994, 446, 5,352, 7,360, 72.72%. Row 17, 1993, 434, 5,208, 6,970, 74.72%. Row 18, 1992, 422, 5,064, 6,810, 74.36%. Row 19, 1991, 407, 4,884, 6,620, 73.78%. Row 21, 1990, 386, 6,280, 73.76%. Row 22, 1989, 368, 4,416, 5,980, 73.85%. Now, some of you might have heard of the PASS program, which allows to get up a savings account for a $100,000. Foot 6 and 7, I am not eligible for the program. There are several ways this could be paid for, but that is the next story. Footnote 4, poverty level is dollars. Description page holds. Link to footnote 4 source. Footnote 5, SSI federal payment amounts. Description page holds. Link to footnote 5 source. Footnote 6, Googled. Achieving a better life experience, ABLE, account, AL response. An ABLE, Achieving a Better Life Experience, account is a tax-advantaged savings investment account for people with disabilities. How to get started. 1. Check eligibility. Ensure the disability began before age 26 and meets criteria. Footnote 7. For more on ABLE, description page holds. Link to footnote 7 source. President Dwight D. Eisenhower. A people that values its privileges above its principles soon loses both. Inaugural Address, Washington, D.C., January 20th, 1953. A sound nation is built of individuals sound in body and mind and spirit. Government dares not ignore the individual citizen. Rally in the public square, Cleveland, Ohio, October 1st, 1956. Democracy is essentially a political system that recognizes the equality of humans before the law. Address to Constituent Assembly, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, August 8, 1946. Today in America, unions have a secure place in our industrial life. Only a handful of unreconstructed reactionaries harbor the ugly thought of breaking unions. Only a fool would try to deprive working men and women of the right to join the union of their choice. Speech to the American Federation of Labor, New York City, September 17, 1952. Don't join the book burners. Don't think you are going to conceal faults by concealing evidence that they ever existed. Don't be afraid to go in your library and read every book as long as that document does not offend our own ideas of decency. That should be the only censorship. Dartmouth College Commencement Exercises, Hanover, New Hampshire, June 14, 1953. In the long perspective of history, the right to vote has been one of the strongest pillars of a free society. Our first duty is to protect this right against all encroachment. State of the Union Message, Washington, D.C., January 7, 1960. The opening for the Constitution of the United States. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. President Franklin Roosevelt. We must especially beware of that small group of selfish men who would clip the wings of the American eagle in order to feather their own nests. Part of a speech delivered on January 6, 1941.